Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Pageau.
The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by MediaClip, Photo Finale, and Advertech Printing. Hello again, and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Pageau, and today we're joined by Ina Hilker, the head of market intelligence for Felix-Schoeller over in Germany. Hi, Ina. How are you today?
Hi, and good morning, Gary. I'm very well. Thank you.
For the people who aren't familiar with Felix-Schoeller, can you tell us a little bit about the company, longstanding history in the industry?
FelixSchoeller is a leading manufacturer of high-quality specialty papers. We have around 3,800 people in 12 production sites around the world, and we manufacture around 400 to 450,000 tons of paper every year. One of our major markets is photo media or media for photo applications, small format as well as large format media. And we are one of the few remaining paper mills worldwide supplying photographic base paper for traditional silver halide coatings. We are in other paper markets too. We supply specialty paper for the furniture and flooring industry. We have non-wovens for wall decoration. We have sublimation paper for gift products and textile markets, among others.
And those markets are becoming more and more photo, if you will. The wall decor and the gifting sublimation are kind of coming into contact with photo more and more.
Yeah, we are seeing interesting overlaps there too. And it is interesting for us because we have a long history in photo markets. And now we see our so-called new products also moving more into the photographic space. It's interesting.
So most people don't realize is many of the branded silver halide papers over the years were actually made with Felix-Schoeller base media as part of the formula there. So you've been a long-standing component of the photographic industry without a lot of people even being aware of it.
Oh yeah, that's true. And for a long time, we were very proud to say that every second paper photograph in the world was made on Felix-Schoeller paper in the good old silver halide days. This has changed obviously, but for a long while we were proud that we had every second photo on our paper.
The reason why I wanted to have you on is Felix-Schoeller recently released a report to the industry, which I wanted to discuss with you the high points of it, because it's the kind of report that shows market trends in photo printing media. You were the author of the report. How did you come up with the information?
Several sources we used for this information. We have been analyzing photo markets for many, many years, and we have a very good relationship with our customers, and we talk to our customers on a regular basis. So one thing we did is that we built a survey and we asked a large number of our customers around the world what kind of trends they see in photo printing, in particular with regard to technology changes. Mm-hmm. We also work with industry consultants, of course, and we collect information from independent consultants. And then also we talk to other players in the market like equipment manufacturers, printer manufacturers, software suppliers. We also talk to photo distributors. So these are the sources we use for our information.
So you're getting information not only on people who may be using your product, but they're using a mix of other products. So it's a pretty global look at the market, not just from a Felix-Schoeller viewpoint.
No, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about that. The report starts out with the impact on photo printing that COVID-19 had on it. And it really doesn't seem very optimistic, if you will. I mean, it seemed like from 2019 to 2020, there was an overall total market decrease, but it looks like that silver halide took the biggest hit.
Yeah, 2020 was a very difficult year. Obviously, it's a no-brainer. With regard to photo printing, we saw different effects. Professional markets like school photography, event photography were hit very hard. I mean, without events, there's no event photography, obviously.
Right.
Photo retail printing, so on-site printing of photo gift products and photo cards, photo prints was hit also because of the lockdowns. Stores were closed for a time in Europe, in the United States. In Europe, stores were able to reopen after a while, but they blocked off their instant print kiosks because they were afraid that people would catch COVID from touching a print device. This market segment was hit also. On the other hand, we saw that products like wall decoration were very much in focus last year because people had time at home. They looked through their pictures, they found beautiful pictures and had product made eventually because they had time to do it. The same goes for photo books and calendars. We saw some growth in that category. But in the end, the problems in the professional segment and in photo retail printing were bigger than the growth we saw in these other categories. So the growth in wall decoration and photo merchandise made up for some of the losses, but not for all of it.
That's one of the things that most people, generally speaking, in the marketplace don't realize is the school and events market were among the largest market segments in terms of consumption of paper than a lot of the other segments. So when that segment got hit, it just impacted the overall market. Although for the most part, when you talk to independent retailers or some of the online companies, people like that who were moved into wall decor and did some innovative marketing, they were able to withstand the hit. One of the things that I saw in the report was that toner actually increased a little bit, toner-based printing technologies. One of the trends we think we're seeing with COVID is that it accelerated shifts. It accelerated the move to online and accelerated some moves to direct digital for image capture for events and schools and things like that. Do you think that's what's happened here, is that COVID has made the decline in silver halide more aggressive and the increase in things like toner greater?
In the end, yes, that's we believe that this is what happened. Silver halide, first of all, professional was, you were right, professional is a strong segment still for silver halide, and that was hit heavily. And at the same time, people also discovered that with silver halide and the chemistry you are running, you need a certain turnover to keep your chemistry being okay, and also to keep the cost advantages you have with silver halide. Silver halide needs a lot of volume to be cost effective, and these advantages are going away with the declining volumes. And because we saw these big declines last year, it's getting more obvious that what the problems are with silver halide, and people move to other technologies faster now.
So we're seeing increases in dye sublimation for gifting products and things like that. Thermal for kiosks, which I remember when people turned up their nose at thermal in kiosks, it's like that will never work. And now you see what's being produced in kiosks, and they're excellent prints. There's no reason why they can't be side by side with silver halide. And then we also see high productivity toner-based systems and inkjet kind of coming to the forefront. From the Felix-Schoeller viewpoint, do you think the switch has happened, that silver halide has been technically replaced? It just doesn't know it yet?
No, I wouldn't put it that strong. I mean, this transition away from silver halide to other technologies has been going on for a long while.
So the trend we're seeing with silver halide being impacted is really something that's been happening for a while, both from a technology standpoint and from a lab preference standpoint. Like you were saying, there was, the chemicals you have to keep in balance. There's darkroom considerations. It's much more challenging to handle the product now that you have technologies like inkjet and toner that can compete.
Yeah, this is very true. Silver halide is a very good technology in high volume applications, and it has its justification why it is used in central photo finishing. If you have medium to smaller volumes, it is clumsy to handle your chemicals. There are more advantages with these other so-called dry printing technologies, where you switch on the power in the morning and your device is up and running. And what we have seen quite clearly in our market research is that product and volume are driving the technologies print service providers are choosing for their print shop. So if you are in a smaller volume category, inkjet or thermal printing is your preferred method of choice. If you are in the high volume category, like 4x6 printing in a central environment, your technology is silver halide, because there it's worthwhile to work with the chemicals. Or in the long term, inkjet or liquid toner devices, because these print devices offer a much higher speed and capacity.
The other thing that it offers is greater flexibility in terms of products you can offer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, duplex printing with silver halide is very difficult. I mean, you can do it as such. You print and glue the paper together. With toner-based printing or inkjet, you have the opportunity to do duplex printing for books, for example.
Plus, you can do things like GIFs, canvas, enlargements, things like that you can generate many more products off a single image than you could previously, because in the old days, as you and I both remember the days of film, it was basically a one-to-one thing. There was one image and they printed one picture off of it, right? A 4x6. And now consumers may have many more pictures, probably 5,000 or 10,000 pictures a year they're taking. And out of those, there's a few great ones, which they can make many things out of, which I think is the shift for the industry, is to go from a one-to-one idea to a lot of things from a few images idea at a higher margin and productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. And there, with these other print technologies, you have the advantage that these technologies offer a much wider range of substrates, like canvas, vinyls, and you name it. You can non-woven products, for example, and these are substrates you cannot print with silver halide technology, but you can with inkjet or toner-based printing devices.
There was a point in here where you talked about why people made the changes from one type of media to digital media, right? Where you talk about this, I believe is on page 6, where you talk about people are looking for new opportunities, but they're also being quote unquote forced to change. So part of this is a growth opportunity, but also an opportunity that maybe my equipment isn't going to be around much longer.
Yeah, in our survey, we actually saw that people started transitioning to other technologies a long time ago already, let's say 10, 12 years ago. And these people in the beginning of this technology transition in general saw opportunity in these new printing technologies. They saw that they could use dry technology for photo gift products and wall decoration, for example. And over time, these people, of course, transitioned to different technologies, while others were staying with silver halide. And these people staying with silver halide, they start changing over to new technologies now, or they have started in the past years, very, very, very late. And they are driven by the fear that silver halide technology in the long run will not be available anymore. And it's not just the printer, it's also the chemicals, for example. And they start having the feeling, and also the paper, they start changing over to other technologies out of fear that either one of their components or the whole system is not available anymore in, let's say, 10 years or whenever.
Because you used to be able to amortize a printer or a film processor or a paper processor over decades. Really, if we could keep that thing going, and it's golden, and nowadays, because of COVID, we're also looking at shipping problems with, containers off the coast of California of paper not being able to arrive. And there's a lot of concerns with that. Moving on from those type of concerns, I also found interesting this one chart, I believe it was on page 7, where you talk about the type of printing technology for different types of applications: photo merchandise, wall decor, school and kindergarten photography, consumer photo printing. Do you think that's where the choices are going to be made? Is I'm going to choose toner based more because I'm more into the photo merchandise world, and if I'm more into wall decor and posters and higher end albums, I may choose inkjet. Is that where the delineation is taking place? Is the type of markets you're serving?
Yeah, I tried to explain that a little earlier already. It is like it's the type of product and the volume behind the products you're offering is what defines the technology you are using. All these technology have their merits, but they are strong for different features. Like toner and silver halide both offer very, very, very good quality and also high speed printing.
Right.
And in the case of silver halide, it's also low cost combined with high speed printing. Inkjet, on the other hand, offers a wide range of different substrates and surfaces. You have glossy, you have matte, you have metallic, all sorts of things. You have canvas, all sorts of different substrates. If we look outside printing on paper, which is the Felix-Schoeller interest, of course, with inkjet you can print on wood, you can print on glass, and you have a much larger product range you look at. So if you want to go into wall decoration and you would like to offer the whole range of products, inkjet is your technology of choice. If you are a small photo retailer and you offer on-site printing for 4x6 prints, you want to look at inkjet or thermal because you have small printing devices. You can scale these printers. If you need more capacity, you just buy a second one and you do not have to change everything in your print shop. So it is product and volume that defines the technologies you want to use for your printing.
And also portability too. I mean, that's one thing you're not really mentioning here, but I think it's pretty important, is if you're putting in some of these digital printers, especially in a retail store, right? I'm talking about, a shop, you can reconfigure your store and move things around much more easily than you could with a wet lab back in the day. It's just gives the retailer much more flexibility, or even the ability to print at events or remotely or do things like that, which, you couldn't take a wet lab to a wedding reception and make prints there.
Yeah, that's a great point, Gary. Absolutely. And in particular, with regard to event photo, we can see that these event photographers, they love the small inkjet printer devices you carry along. At graduation of my two kids, we had these event photographers with small inkjet printers, and we could buy the prints immediately while we were celebrating their graduation.
And if they make it easy and affordable, you're more likely to do that than to hit you up a week later with an email that says, hey, go to a gallery and find pictures. Not that there's not a market for that, but I think there is an advantage to in the moment picture providing for those kind of things like wedding receptions, graduations, theme parks, all of these places where when people are engaged in the activity, they want something to take with them.
Yeah, definitely. It makes buying these products easier. And you're absolutely right. There is a market for, I order these prints a week later and I go to an online gallery, but a large bunch of people is happy when they can buy these prints at the event and take it home immediately. And also, if you buy it immediately, sometimes you still can go to this gallery a week later and reorder or whatever. Sure. It makes things more flexible and offers more options for the printer and also for the buyer.
One of the other items that's in the report is you talk a little bit about future growth, that the market is going to recover after the impact of COVID-19, and it will grow through the next few years. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's really more the positive side I think we want to go towards, is the positive outlook for the industry.
Yeah, that's what we all hope, that we will see some recovery after this bad year 2020. Let me start by saying that unfortunately, with all the lockdowns we were still seeing this year, this recovery is a little delayed. So from what we have seen in the first 6 months of this year, some markets were still slow and difficult, but things start to pick up now. Even in Germany, schools are back to a regular schedule now and not locked down. So school photographers can go out and take pictures again. So we all hope that we are turning the industry now, the corner now, with regard to growth. And then, yes, actually, before COVID, the trend for photo printing was not bad. Photo merchandise, of course, has been the driver of growth in the industry for many, many years. And this is across the world. But there's still a lot of potential in photo merchandise, in particular outside of the established markets in Western Europe and North America. But also the trend for single photo prints, 4x6, was not bad before COVID. It was not great, but we were not seeing these big declines we saw in the early 2000 years.
Sure.
Decline was in low single digits, I would say. And in many markets, it was obvious that smartphone apps were supporting 4x6 printing as well as photo merchandise. Like in Europe, we have these famous free print app or Lala app where you order your prints with a click from your smartphone. And you could see that this was supporting printing of 4x6 prints already.
Sure.
So the trend was not bad. And from our point of view, there is no reason why we wouldn't go back to these more positive trends when we come out of this pandemic.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's interesting is you have a note here in the one of the pages about the projection of growth, and thermal seems to be going to be growing in double digits. Toner based about 6%, inkjet 2%, but that's coming from a fairly large base. But still, silver halide, even though it will decline, is still bigger than thermal. I mean, it's still a big segment of the market is silver halide.
Yeah, that's just what a lot of people don't know or don't want to see anymore these days. Silver halide is still a big part of this market. It is substantial volume, and this will continue for many years in central processing. And this is a very European thing. Silver halide is still the dominant printing technology. This is something we shouldn't forget. A lot of markets, and including North America, have shifted away from central processing. I mean, there are a couple of very strong central photo labs in the US. I know this, and they also run substantial volume of silver halide paper. But in Europe, central processing is a lot stronger than in any other region in this world. And well, this is basically silver halide printing.
So to get a copy of this report, we've set up a special bit.ly link, which we'll put in the show notes, but it's bit.ly Felix-Schoeller Photo Print Report. And for more information on Felix-Schoeller as a company, Ina, where do you want people to go?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about our products and services, please go to our website, www.felix-schoeller.com. And if you like to discuss the results of our survey or want to learn more about the report, my email is in the report, so please contact me directly. I'm happy to discuss market trends with anybody who's interested.
Well, thank you, Ina, for your time and your information, and I hope you have a great fall season.
Thank you very much. Lovely to speak with you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.